Hey everyone, good morning, it's me Thyworm, and today in this little video, this one take video most likely, I will go over my day 1/day 1.5 character, which is this guy, also called Thyworm, level 93 SRS Guardian, as you all probably have expected if you have followed the channel or followed the guide. And so what I wanted to do is just, go over the character, see what I have been up to lately, go over a little bit of the gear, tell you where I got those, the Spectres, the Animate Guardian, all that good stuff. And then in the end, I will show you a map. I created a tier 16 map, and that also gives you an idea where I'm currently at in the game. I am doing tier 16 maps. I have kind of unlocked the Atlas, but not entirely. I'm taking my sweet time, really. I just went from like tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3, all around the Atlas, and now I have reached tier 16. I have one Void Stone. Here it is the Eldritch Void Stone from the Searing Exarch and the Eater of Worlds, and that is about it. And that's fine. I wasn't really rushing or trying to, prove a point or anything. I am basically just making my way through the Atlas, enjoying the progression. And so far so good. I am really enjoying myself. I think the new league mechanic Mirage is great. The new Atlas seems cool. I will, gather my thoughts as soon as I have actually interacted a little bit more with this thing. Probably after a few days, maybe a week or so. But so far having an absolute blast. And so far the build has been also an absolute blast, which to me is no surprise. I think to you should also be no surprise. So, with that said, let's get into it. And I think start with the character overview. Offense, there's nearly not that much going on. But defense, I am capped, of course. 79 overall resistances. I don't have a single implicit yet on my gear. That will be something for later. I typically do that a little bit later when I have either a little bit more Eldritch implicit currency or when I have better gear, basically. So for now, 79%. Also, Chaos Rest capped already, not too bad. And the block and attack block, you should attack and cast a spell to have a proper idea. 58 attack block and 68 spell block. So not capped yet, but definitely getting there, and that is completely fine. If I would get a little bit better shield, especially a shield with a bit more chance to block, I would probably be very close to the block cap, if not actually block capped. So that's it. Because of purity of elements, I'm immune to all the ailments and that kind of stuff. And everything else is fine. I have 3 frenzy charges and nothing else, because I'm still running a Carnage Chieftain. I think in terms of Ascendancy choices, you see I have an open jewel socket. That's always great to see, of course. The usual, the Sentinel of Radiance, the fact that you don't have to resummon this guy ever again is just massive. Like, it is so good. Then the little relics, of course, the Bastion of Hope for the block. And this time I went with the random shrine buff. This is only temporary until I find Katarina, which I haven't found yet. But it's not bad. A shrine buff every 10 seconds is kind of okay. You can pick this one. You can also pick the Time of Need. I would not do Marshal of Divinity because you are not melee hitting. Right, so I don't think this does a whole lot for you, but any of the other two are also fine. It is temporary anyway until you find the Katarina bloodline, or even any other bloodline that makes sense to you, whether it's only temporary or not. So that is the Ascendancy. Then I think let's go over the gear. I have managed a +1 wand. This was just from ground loot, and it's the only thing that is on here, right? A +1 all minions and then a trigger. Everything else is pretty bad. Cast speed is, somewhat useful because SRS is a spell at the end of the day, so cast time does matter, but not really something that you normally aim for. A +2 all minion skill gem from Ritual. I have been playing an awful lot of Ritual. I will also show you the Atlas trees. So +2 from Ritual, but on a evasion base. So that is not amazing, but it's okay. And other than that, not too bad. The shield, some minion stats, a lot of life, a lot of chaos res, but nothing else. This is also ground loot. I still have a lot of ground loot, guys, by the way. The chest, I think this was made by the tree. A 5-link, it could have been ground loot too. It's one of the two. I've been doing a little bit of breach, but not really all that much. So yeah, you can still get 5 links from breach. Then the gloves from ground loot also is also not very good, as you can see. Crafted a little bit of dexterity on there. And then the boots, this is from a field modifier, right? The movement speed and 10% movement speed is from a field modifier. But again, pretty crappy gear, right? Pretty crappy gear. This is not good at all. Not for SSF, also not great. Belt, decent. Just a bit of strength, energy shield, life, resistances. And the rings are also the same thing. Life and resistances. Life and resistances. Especially some chaos res, because I'm capping my chaos res. And then here, I'm typically using my amulet for a bunch of attributes that I need. And I'm now overcapped on attributes. I'm pretty sure I have, for example, 184 dexterity. I don't need that, right? So I could, for example, craft something else here on the gloves. But right now, I am completely fine. And I've allocated one of the cheap anoints that I also put in the guide, Fangs of the Viper, for 20 dexterity and 5% movement speed. Which is, again, it just helps out. That, I think, is it for the gear. I have managed to automate all my flasks, so I am running a granite with armor, a quicksilver, a quartz, and a jade. And then the suffixes are armor, evasion, movement speed, and reduced effective curses. And these are basically up all the time. I should really use some baubles on them. I have 30, so I could actually use quite a few baubles on them, so that they also last a little bit longer. But these are pretty much up all the time. And then the life flask, also not even that good, but at least it has bleeding immunity. When it comes to the tree, I am literally just following the guide. So there's really not that much reason to go into it. I'm level 93, as you can tell. I can have 3 Spectres currently because my Spectre setup, which is in here. Raise Spectre Gem is level 23. This should really be level 25 at some point, because at level 25 you can add 1 more Spectre. So I could have 4, but now I have 2 Spectres from the gem and 1 extra Spectre from Death Attunement. Which, for example, also brings me to the Spectres, right? So this is just following the PoE that I already had. No surprises there. The Spectres, I have basically been exclusively doing ritual. So you can perhaps tell which Spectres I have. I have a Carnage Chieftain. This is still the guy from Act 2. I have the big hulking miscreation. This guy summons with this thing that he just did. He summons your other minions, your other constructs, and I think both the golem and also all your SRSs are in fact constructs. So they get a huge buff to attack speed and cast speed. And then I have here my forest warrior. As you can tell, a regular forest warrior. I have also put these Spectres in the PoE, so I will share the path of building of this character so that you have an idea. You can see what I managed to do at level 93. That is the Spectres, and then I have the Animate Guardian, as you can see. He really only has 3 pieces that are somewhat okay. The Dying Breath, as I'm sure you can tell, right? That massive blue weapon that he is walking around with. He has the boots, are the Wake of Destruction. They leave shocked ground behind. See, every now and then you see a little bit of shocked ground. And he also, that adds a little bit to his damage. And he has the Ascendancy's gloves. Ascendancy's Genital Touch, it's called, I think. So that will cause some explosions when clearing maps, which is great, of course. And then the other 2 items are pointless. I think it is the Onslaught helmet, if I'm not mistaken. And I have also given him Fleshcrafter chest piece. which are both completely pointless. I think it gives him a bit of life perhaps, or some resistances or something. But yeah, not useful. I want to have a +1 curse chest for him and the Leer cast, right? But I haven't found it yet. That is where we are with that. What else do you guys want to know? I think the Atlas, I have mostly done my first Atlas tree, so I did go into Ritual, and I did actually start out exactly like the first 50 points, but now I have a little bit more points, and I did a small respec. I'm still fully into Ritual because I just really like Ritual as well, and it's super good with Mirage, by the way. And I have started to path a little bit towards some other nodes. Packed with Energy for just a bit of a buff. The Extreme Archaeology whenever I do find one of those. That's just making life easier. And some strong boxes. That is what I have been speccing into. It is my only tree, by the way. The other tree, this I have available, but there's nothing in it. The third tree I don't think is available yet. Right? I haven't exactly unlocked everything yet. So that is the tree. I will not be sharing this, but you know, take a picture or something. This is what it looks like. Is there any other menu that I forgot? Let's see. I'll have a look at the microtransactions as well. The Atlas, but the Atlas there's not that much to talk about, I feel. So I'm not really sure what to talk about when it comes to the Atlas. Except that, yeah, I just already told you, right? I have one Void Stone. I'm gonna work today on the others. I'll be streaming after this as well, so you can join if you have any questions. Just hop in the stream and ask me over there. Yeah, 93 completion, which I guess is okay for day one. I really don't know. I think this is new for everyone. The only thing I can tell you, which I already did, is that I wasn't really rushing this in any way. So I've been really taking my time, just easily completing most of the Atlas and having a great time doing so. But now, yesterday late, I reached the end of the Atlas, and there's all sorts of stuff happening here. But I have yet to figure out how this exactly works. And I'll be doing that on stream. Microtransactions. I bought the new supporter pack. I don't know what it's called, but it gives you this whole outfit, which looks really good. I think it also gives you the back attachment, and it does something if you identify gear or something. I haven't actually seen it, but I like it. It's pretty toned down and quite nice. I have very few, I think, other MTX, to be honest. Oh, of course, I need to go over my skills as well, which I will do. I have very few other MTX active, I think. A portal, you get the pet, the scroll shaper pet. It's flying around here or walking around here somewhere, which is cool. Rose charge and then expedition weapon effect. Acquired wisdom when I finish a unique. The chest slam when I finish a rare. This you might also notice in maps. In fact, you will definitely notice this in maps. Yeah, and that's it. And I made my flasks effects invisible, so you will always see the character, which I think is nice. And I'm smoking pipe, apparently. See?
Don't hurry back.
Yeah. That's that. Of course, the skills, guys, not completely unimportant. Again, following the guide, but you might be surprised to see that I'm only on a 5 link. Because I haven't found a 6 link yet. And what I did find was some of these coins. I'll show you the leveling gear. Here, I still have one. A coin of skill. A corrupts level 20 skill gem, imbuing it with, in this case, dexterity support or a green support gem. But I had also 2 red support gems. I hit a level 1 more duration, which is not bad on SRS. But I also hit the level 1 ruthless, which I think is best in slot. At least in testing that I did, this was best in slot. So this is great. So effectively, you could say my SRS is currently on a pseudo 6 link, but it's really on a 5 link. And yeah, I'm clearing the whole game so far. 1 Void Stone and tier 16s on a 5 link, and it has no issue whatsoever. So this is great. I have the standard support gems, so LE damage with attacks, unleash, melee splash, and minion damage. Then this is a standalone, but this would be the 6th link, most likely elemental focus. especially now that I hit the level 1 Ruthless. Everything else is pretty much the same as in the guide, so I don't have to really go over that. Animate Guardian, Raise Spectre with the 2 support gems, Desecrate, Flash Offering, Elemental Weakness in the wand, Summon Skitterbots, Shield Charge, Frost Blink, and then some more automated stuff, Convocation, Haste, Automation, Pure Developments, and then here the 2 golems, Carrion Golem, Stone Golem, Elemental Army for the debuff, and Feeding Frenzy for the buff. That's it. I think that is it. Right, there cannot be that much more, I think, to tell. So here is the permanent, the permanent big guy, right? The permanent Sentinel of Radiance. He even transitions between zones and whatnot, so you really don't have to do anything with him anymore. And that also means that this build is now pretty much truly a one-button build. You just shield charge around. You can Frost Blink over, you know, any obstacle. And you press, in my case, Q just to get the SRS out. And then I have Vaal Haste. I did corrupt a few regular hastes. So I have a Vaal Haste, which I can press for a temporary buff. And that's it. That's the whole build. Now, let's do a map that I haven't done yet. Ghetto, for example. And yeah, I will just show you how this goes. This is a pretty tanky map. As you can tell, I think it's 8 modded even, who knows. But it's got LE res, monsters life as extra, energy shield, the crit of the monsters, hexproof of the monsters, which is not great, of course. So, yeah, pretty tanky. I'm running Shearing Exarch because I have a Shearing Exarch Atlas tree. And let's just see how we do. So far, I've been doing pretty well. I think deaths is not much, 10 times in total. Now I might add 1 or 2 with a map like this, but 10 deaths, that seems reasonable to me, right? And this is gameplay that you have probably seen before, but it's very reasonable. The loot filter is still a little bit not so strict, so yeah, there's that. So there's a little bit too much stuff popping up for my taste. But you can see the explosions, right? Like everything starts to explode already because of the SNFs, which is of course great. And then I just press my Vaal Haste, for example. And this is, yeah, on the gear that you just saw. So not exactly good gear or anything. Here, of course, is the Mirage, which is great. The Mirage is an awful lot of fun, I think. So I'll pick up some stuff, but not like truly everything, for at least a little bit of a showcase. And you can tell, like, some of the rares, they will take a little bit longer, right? Clearly, because, yeah, who knows what these guys are all doing. They got a lot of resistances and whatnot. But for the most part, this is fine, eh? At least I think it is. More wands, I'll take it. And then, yeah, I would typically, if you have a choice, I don't really mind otherwise. Pick a blue or a red one, because, yeah, those are the ones that give you the power coins that you want, right? You either want a red support gem or a blue one, I would say, typically. I don't care much about scarabs at the moment, but pack size is quite nice. I would imagine, but who knows if it's true, I would imagine that increased pack size also increases the odds of you finding one of those coins, because after all, there are more monsters. But it gets pretty crowded in here, as you can tell. I mean, it's a pretty juicy map after all, right? But the build doesn't really struggle with that. Especially now that I have the SNS. But even before you have the SNS, I mean, you got the melee splash support, which is just completely fine. And I swap for bosses, for pinnacle bosses, not for map bosses, but for pinnacle bosses, I swap towards, for example, multi-strike. Right, I'm leveling that in the offhand. So if you want to kill a map boss, you just go to multi-strike and And that way ensure some of your single target. Which is great. Conjure gloves. I don't think there is a ritual here. Normally I would have that. You could also see how much tribute that I'm actually gathering from this, which is completely broken in the Mirage, but that is a topic I think for another video. But when doing ritual in Mirage, I've had such a good time. It's crazy. Those things coming down from the ground, by the way, or like whenever I kill a rare, you see sort of these meteors, these purple meteors slamming down. That's just MTX. That is not a skill. Although it could be a skill, I suppose, but it isn't. Oh, also loot buffs confirmed, by the way, just so you guys know. I'm not sure where you are at in your progression, of course, but I have had so much loot already. Like, crazy amounts of loot, really. I have like 35 exalted orbs. All of that good stuff. So it's absolutely amazing, I think. The loot buffs are very, very noticeable. And that's great. So you can actually just slam your gear, be happy about it, right? Don't have to worry about a lot of the gear. Also, map sustain is great. Like, no need to worry about map sustain. I think it's time to get out of here. Also, I think no need so far, at least, but I have effectively completed the Atlas, as you could have seen. I have not invested in basically a single map node, except, of course, for a little bit of traveling, right? You have to do some traveling to get from A to B in the Atlas passive tree, but apart from that, not a single node to provide extra maps in there. You get plenty of maps. It is not an issue whatsoever, which is great. Now let's do the rituals, because I spec'd into rituals, so you also have a little bit of an idea how this goes. But this goes, I would also say, as expected for the most part. It is advisable, despite you being pretty tanky, it's advisable, I would say, to maybe not, you know, be in the middle of monster packs, especially in these dense areas. You might still accidentally kill yourself, but you know, for the most part, you can tank a hit or two. You will also block quite a bit of the damage. And this is roughly how the build plays. We'll do another ritual. And there's still a lot of loot dropping. But yeah, that's just what it is right now. I will make a pass on my filter, I think, before I start the stream. So that, yeah, like 3 alteration orbs. I mean, debatable. Debatable at this point. It's not horrible. But is it necessary? Maybe not. And in these majestic belts, these are all like crafting materials. That's why they show up. I will remove all of those, right? But here another 5 link. I get plenty of 5 links, just haven't really found a 6 link. So yeah, but haven't really farmed for that either. Haven't made that much of a priority. Because so far this has been going so well. So yeah, why push for specific upgrades? And especially, you know, why do breach again after doing it for hundreds of hours just to get a 6 link, right? I'll get a 6 link eventually, and so far my 5 link is more than enough, so I'm not too concerned. And that is also true for the rest of my gear. I mean, you saw my gear. It is far from decent, even. Like, it's not even, it's barely decent, I would say. Like, there's nothing special about it. I haven't farmed for any of it. It's all just ground loot. And stuff from ritual. And that's it. Which anyway is great, of course, right? I mean, that is what can get you this far with this build. Which is, I think, part of the reason why it is such a great starter build. I will do one more thing at the end, by the way, and that is go over the PoB. these bosses are super tanky because I probably gave her a buff or two with the altars, and also yeah, look at the modifiers, right? So she's got energy shield, she's got hexproof immunity. So normally I would curse her, but that is not happening. Yeah, so we'll just have to sit this one out, but you know, you can do it. There's someone else going on here as well. I'm not sure entirely how many of them there are. And they have the modifiers, right, from the bismuth thing, which almost kills me there, of course. Let's hit this thing. That is then the last ritual. Maybe it will give me something good. The ritual itself, if it's not a Mirage, it's not really giving me that much juice just yet. I'm not using any scarabs or anything. This is Elchen Go in that sense. But Elchen Go seems quite nice and I think very reasonable so far. So I'm pretty happy with that state as well. Yeah, there I did take a little bit of a hit. And there the two map bosses are again, so this could take a little bit of time yet again. But, you know, eventually they will die. I do have culling from my Forest Warrior. So that does help a little bit. Also, she is cursed with something, but... 6.7k. It's not bad. It's not bad. I think I'll leave it at this. For the map, there's a little bit left, but I'm sure you guys get the point. Now, let's look at this. Here you go. This is how you get your Spectres and whatnot. So that is what you want to be doing. I just on the spot basically identify these, and then if it's not anything decent, I just throw it away. So that's great. A hulking miscreation. Anything else that is cheap, I might also just take. I have 3 rerolls, which I typically tend to use. This is free though. You know, if it's something like a gem I use, like a Frostblink, I pick that up as well. This is very cheap, but this, for example, is very expensive. I have that node that gives 80% more cost and 90% less. So in the bottom right, there are a bunch of items that are super cheap, and then in the top left, everything is overpriced or really good. Here, and a perfect warlord. Now, guys, this is how you get your corpses. I already have one of these, by the way, in the stash, just waiting to be used. So yeah, we'll defer this, pick it up in the next one. And this happens fairly often. I mean, you can already see I have quite a few Spectres that are normally maybe considered more unique or rare, but so far I've been either getting very lucky, but I think it just has to do with the quality of the ritual. So let's get out of here before I get killed by a tornado. Yeah, one final thing. I did create the PoE, which I will also share. So maybe we end with this. Yeah, and it's this. I configured it. You can check it out, and if I missed something, put it in the comments, but I don't think so. I also don't think I'm cheating in any way in that sense. Let's see, because there's no cheating skills that I use, right? There's no steel skin, there's no molten shell, so I don't think I can even cheat, even though I may want to. I don't want to, guys, no worries. Items, yeah, also not clicked, right? So the flasks are not clicked. Should you click the flask, of course, your effective hit pool goes up. Right now, it's 42,490, which I think is very reasonable for tier 16. It's also fine for pinnacle bosses. Yeah, and I died 10 times, of which a few times was on pinnacle bosses, right? The ball phase, Searing Exarch, that always kills me a few times. But for maps, I think very tanky. You would feel pretty tanky, I would say. And already 4.3 million DPS on the gear that you just saw, which is bad gear. That's also the gear, of course, that is in here, right? These are the same items. And then if you would add the flasks, which I think you can reasonably do in maps. In maps, these are always up. You go to 60k. effective. It's cool. I think, again, very reasonable. I'm gonna leave it at this though, half-hour video. I think that is more than enough. Guys, join me for the stream if you're interested. And otherwise, I wish you all the best. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.